Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Kim Duramo from the American Institute of Mind-Body Medicine, and welcome to our Facebook Live MindBody TV session for the week. Today, I'm going to talk about how to get out of fight or flight so your body can heal, especially during this holiday season. We live in fight or flight, and it's not just in the holidays. We kind of amp it up in the holidays, but most of us are spending most of our time in this fight or flight state where the body's geared up, ready to go, engaged, ready to kind of attack life and go after it, or like run from the things that are disturbing us. And we can think of fight, flight, and freeze. There's like three parts of it where we're incapable of really making clear choices in harmony, easily doing what nurtures us, easily choosing the foods that are best for us or the actions and behaviors that really contribute to our lives. So we think we're doing something beneficial by being all geared up and motivated and ready to go, but it really actually just creates more chaos. And as a physician, this is one of the things that I've seen most dynamically block healing. So if you've been having a lot of fatigue and it's like, wow, I just can't believe it's not getting better, or I'm in chronic pain, it's not getting better no matter what I do, or I'm overweight and I can't get my body to kind of be in balance, all kinds of syndromes of illness, autoimmune disease, thyroid disease develop when we live in fight or flight, when we live in this chronic state of being geared up. So I always talk about the difference between acute and chronic illness. When we have an acute illness, which is like short term, you get a cold, you get the flu, you get better. And it might be really intense and you feel like crap, but you get better. Your body kind of goes through a process and something happens. When we're in a chronic pattern, it's very different. The body isn't getting better. And we need to look at these differently. And in our current medical paradigm, we're not really doing a great job with that. We're not doing a great job with chronic illness. We do great with acute illness. I've been trained as a board-certified emergency medicine doctor. And the reason I went into emergency medicine is because I know that's the area where we're really applying conventional medicine well. If you're, dying, we can keep you alive. If you're bleeding, we can give you that blood you need. If your arm is fallen off, we can get the arm back on. But in the chronic situation, it is totally different. And that's because we need to look at things in a different way. The acute, it's like, what's wrong? And let's fix it. Boom. We're going to start your heart back up. We're going to give you an antibiotic and get rid of the bug and the bacterial infection, and then your body will resolve. In the chronic infection, chronic illness, we need to look instead at why are you not getting better? What is blocking healing? So totally different questions, totally different approaches. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Let's fix it. Versus what is blocking health? I had experienced a chronic illness years ago, and doctors told me nothing could be done. You've got to take all these medications. This is going to be the rest of your life. You're not going to be able to run anymore. And it was a really heavy hit for me to kind of start to buy into that. But I realized, wait a minute, that's not what's going on. That doesn't make any sense to me. My body was healthy before. What would it take to regain health? So in 2 years of dealing with this, I kept asking, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Wrong question. All I did was get more awareness of what was wrong. And I stayed in fight or flight over hypervigilant, can't eat that, can't eat this, gotta do that, and making, what do I have to do to get better? That drives your stress hormone that actually blocks healing. What happened that really allowed me to heal was, after kind of hitting rock bottom and getting this diagnosis, I realized, wait a minute, what's right about this I'm not getting? What is keeping my body from healing? And then I opened up to a whole new realization and allowed my body to heal. What happens when we're in fight or flight, and it's a trigger. We get triggered by, especially in the holidays, people around us, situations, all the busyness, everything I'm supposed to be doing, the ideas and beliefs that I have can keep us in this pattern of restriction. I'm going to look over at the questions on the Addicted to Yoga page. I want to welcome everyone who's here live. So welcome to the Facebook Live. And I want to ask, before we kind of dig into the stuff we'll share today, what is it you've been in fight or flight about? Have you been fired up, stressed out, overwhelmed, really busy? What has been coming up for you? Let me just see if I can find any of these comments. Yeah, so I welcome your comments for everyone who's here live. And certainly for those who are listening to the recording, you can certainly post your questions and comments later. So Tarly is asking, what are the most important poses to combat asthma? So let's kind of feel into that. I'm not a yoga expert. I have taught yoga for years, but my expertise is more in mind-body healing, which is definitely about that yoga of yoking together mind and body and breath to allow healing in the body. But I know there are a lot of like chest opening poses that can help release fight or flight. Certainly with asthma, we want to look at what's happening in your nervous system, and that's what we'll talk about today. So what is the fight or flight system? It gets triggered in your brain. And this can be triggered from even something that's not real or not actually happening, like, oh my God, I'm going to be late for this thing and they'll be upset with me. Or next week is Christmas, I'm not ready, I don't have everything I need. Or, oh, we're going to be at this family dinner and so-and-so is going to do this thing and then I'm going to feel really bad and this is what's going to happen. And we project this unwanted future. It can fire up your system. Your body is getting hit with that. Even though it's not happening now, even though it's not even happening at all, it might never happen, your body will experience it as if it is actually happening. Your brain doesn't know the difference between real or perceived threat. And that's where this mind-body connection is so helpful to consider. Your amygdala will trigger this stress response. Your cortisol levels go up, fight or flight hormones, your adrenal glands, they sit right on top of your kidneys, start to get all triggered up. And so you're shooting out all of these stress hormones to the body, telling the body, things are not okay. We are in an emergency. You've got to gear up. You've got to go for it. You've got to get all systems on. Meanwhile, you're like sitting in your car in traffic. Nothing's actually happening. There is no real threat. So what is really wreaking havoc on the health and like destroying health, accelerating aging, creating fatigue, preventing the body from restoring itself, is this fabrication, is this state. How do we get out of that state, especially when it seems like things really aren't okay, so that we can allow restoration in the body? And we'll talk about that too, and some tools that we can use. It's so helpful during the holidays to begin to like, turn that off. So what happens is this amygdala triggers the fight or flight response. That's your sympathetic nervous system. It's the part of the nervous system that's like, we got to run for the tiger or we got to fight. So it changes the way you perceive everything. And it's crazy. Like you could have, you're having dinner at the table and somebody says a comment and your brain actually, when you're in fight or flight, interprets it as a threat. And we've all experienced this, but we don't always realize what's going on. When I was teaching in Tennessee at a medical school, the students got to observe themselves on camera. So they'd go into a situation with a patient. And, they were stressed. They were being tested on this. There was going to be a grade and all of that. So they're like, let me go in. Okay, what are you here for? And they'd ask the patient, what's your chief complaint? What's going on today? And the patient would say, I have a sore throat. And then the student doctor would say, okay, well, how long have you had the sore throat? And they'd have to kind of go through a series of asking the right questions to get the right information to make the diagnosis. And I had this one student who was so upset about the patient, and I can't believe she was so snippy, and it was like she was just challenging me. And I went in and I said, what are you here for today? And the patient said, well, I thought you could tell me that. And the student doctor said to me, why was she doing that? She was being so mean, and I was so stressed out, and I don't understand why she was challenging me, and it was making everything so much harder, and was really upset. But she watched the video. Now, this is like a week later, I think, and we're in a very different situation. She's not in the test environment. She's relaxed, and her brain is in a different state. So not in fight or flight. And she watched the video and she said, oh my gosh, it was nothing like I thought. What I heard her say and being snippy and testy was totally a fabrication. And what actually was said was, hey, what are you here for? And the patient in the scenario said, I don't know, I thought maybe you could tell me that. And it was actually a really friendly tone and a harmless comment. And this student was like, wow, I was so fired up about something that wasn't even real. This happens all the time. If you're in an argument with your spouse and you're like, well, you're saying blah, blah, blah. Why are you saying this to me? And then the other person's like, I'm just trying to help you. But what you hear is a threat. So this fight or flight changes your whole perception, the way you perceive everything happening around you. So then it keeps you in that fight stage. You got to attack, you got to defend, you got to fight back. And then all of life becomes a fight. I got to fight the fat. I got to fight my disease. I've got to fight my body. And all of these unwanted things keep reappearing. When we get out of fight or flight and calm down the amygdala and the triggers, we come into what's called the relaxation response, the parasympathetic. So there's the sympathetic nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system. This is the healing response. This is what allows like all the housekeeping to happen, cleaning up all of the debris from an inflammation, or, if you did have the wear system set up, you get like a 10-minute stressor, boom, 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 you run from the tiger. Okay, now all is well. It cleans up the whole situation and you restore balance. What happens is that most of us never turn off fight or flight. So we don't get into that harmonious state of peace and relaxation and well-being and ease and freedom and joy and creativity and all of the flourishing that's meant to be most of our life experience. Totally the core reason why so many people are sick and not getting better. So, what do? One of the biggest things is our awareness. How are we using our awareness? Am I aware of what's happening in my body? And before we get into this, I just want to look over the comments. And hello, everybody who's here. And questions that are coming up around this. Have you experienced this yourself? Have you been living in fight or flight? Have you been experiencing chronic fatigue or autoimmune illness? Or, your whole body's just kind of discombobulated, falling apart. Patty says, as we practice breathing during the day, does it help you to stay out of fight or flight when things come up? Yeah, this is one of the biggest things for me is how I use my breath. And yoga is really a big part of this. How we use the breath to, you could say, control the body. Now, that has kind of a stressful connotation in and of itself. I got to control my body. It's this unleashed thing, and I can't let it out of control. It isn't actually that we want to live in control, but how I can use the breath to harmonize the body, to allow the body to come into harmony. Instead of allowing this like runaway train to take off with the fight or flight response, how am I breathing in every moment? Am I present to my breath? Am I witnessing my breath? When I'm in yoga, I'm very aware that especially if you're speeding up and your body's kind of like doing a lot of sun salutations and your heart rate's going up and the breath can start to get like you're breathing fast or breathing into the chest. And if I immediately bring my breath, because that's what you want to be always present to. Yoga is a great practice to presence your breathing in every moment, in every pose. And so then I can take that off my mat and into my life, presence my breathing while I'm here on this video, while I'm talking to my daughter, while I'm taking a walk, and allow that to constantly be in harmony. What's harmonious breath? Full, slow, deep inhales, relaxed and complete exhales. And then also, like I mentioned, the awareness of what's happening in here. Am I in harmony with it? Or am I resisting it and rejecting it? Right? Like, oh no, I don't like the way I feel. It's not okay. Or I'm afraid of what I feel. I think something's wrong. And I go into fear. Come back to the breath, come back to awareness. It's okay for me to be present to my pain. It's okay for me to be present to my overwhelm and stress. It's okay for me to be present, fired up. Are they going to get there in time? I've got to make sure I get them done and get them, mailed out and get this done and get that done. And it was like, Kim, be anxious for nothing. You've got to let this go. You can wrap presence in disharmony, or you can wrap presence in harmony. And there isn't one way that's going to get you there faster. But the mind thinks there is, and that's why we kind of stay in this fight or flight. We think it's going to get us something. We think it's going to get us ahead. So we stay kind of jacked up, and it wreaks havoc on everything. And, of course, then you are late because you're really not present to allow the synchronicities in life. All right, let me see. Hold on. I'm trying to read the rest of the comments, but nothing's coming up yet. All right, so going on, what happens when we come back into harmony? It was actually a webinar that we did yesterday with a woman named Leah Raznick. She's an acupuncturist and has a really interesting approach to pain. And one of the things that we talked about was how, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and just be present to your body. And we did this exercise while we were in the webinar. And she guided us through it. And I found myself realizing, wow, there's resistance to going inside. Like everything happening is out there, and I need to be out there, and I'm going to miss it. And so we don't go within. And there's this huge imbalance that happens because our system stays so fired up. So if you just close your eyes right now, take a few deep breaths. Let this be your yoga practice. Let your shoulders relax. Let your chest relax. Let your neck relax. It'll automatically bring your breathing deeper into your belly. Just a few more breaths. This ignites the parasympathetic nervous system, the relaxation response. It is so simple and so easy, but what happens is the mind doesn't buy it. No, it can't be that simple. No, don't stop. You have to keep going or everything will fall apart. And we buy it, and we buy into the delusion, and then we stay in the chaos. So just stay present to the breathing, keep your eyes closed, take a few deep breaths. I am perfectly well right here, right now, and I have all I need. So just bring the essence of that idea into your body. I am well right here, right now. I always have all I need. And just take a few deep breaths. Let everything go. I have all I need in this moment. I am well. I am always well. Let your cells drink it in. Let everything relax. And then just feel what you feel. Do I feel some tension? Do I feel fear? Do I feel anxiety? Do I feel sadness, grief, all of the despair that can come up a lot of times in this time of the year? Am I willing to feel that, or do I create a story about it? Do I resist it? Do I have to make it go away? Just take a couple more deep breaths and just let yourself witness it. Let yourself experience it. It's harmless. These energies are harmless. It's our resistance to them that blocks healing, that creates chaos. And then just let your body know, I'm willing to feel everything that I feel right now. Let everything go. Then you can open up your eyes and share, if you would, in the comments what that's like. What did you experience? What was that? What came up for you? What did you notice? The first thing that happens so often, I don't notice anything. I don't feel anything. Nothing's happening. And so what that does is the mind's like, that's a waste of time. I got to stay out here. I got to stay engaged. I got to go. I make stuff happen. Because we're not practicing going within enough to reignite the parts of our brain that do register what we feel, that do know what we know, that do connect and channel our wisdom. And it's so simple when we just slow down anyway, when we just go within anyway, that we begin to turn those parts of the brain on that say, oh, whoa, there's a lot happening in here. Wow, I'm feeling so much. Especially when we start a yoga practice, it's like, okay, I'm doing this exercise and I'm moving around in my sun salutations or whatever. Eventually, we go deeper. We witness more. More comes into our experience because we're practicing paying attention to it. You've got to practice it. So actually, there's studies, medical studies that have shown these areas in the brain that register our intuition, insight, higher thinking, that register awareness of our emotions, awareness of our body, awareness of a deeper state. The parts of our brain that register the awareness of others. I'm aware of how this other person is feeling. They get turned off. They're dormant. They're inactive when we're in fight or flight. And then they're inactive habitually. Meaning even when we first relax, we're not accessing that part of the brain. It's like, oh, I'm not needed. I'm not gonna turn on. It just turns off that part of your brain. Even sensations like joy and like well-being and feeling good in the body. It's like we're not feeling what's actually happening down here. It's okay to feel your body. So another great exercise, and you can do this while you're driving your car. You can do this while you're at dinner for the holiday or while wrapping presents or whatever. Close your eyes and just feel your awareness all the way down to your pelvis. Now, most of us live in the head. You maybe be aware of all the mind chatter that's going on there. So breathe and bring your awareness to your chest first. Come down into the body. And you can put your hand on your chest. You can just kind of give a little percussion. Okay, I'm feeling this area. Bring your attention there. Take a few deep breaths and just feel and presence this area of the heart. Breathe slowly. And then let yourself bring your attention all the way down to your pelvis. Feel your hips. You can like move your butt on the seat. You could just presence. You can even like pat your lower belly. Put your hands on your lower belly. And then as you breathe, feel what's happening all the way down in your pelvis. And close your eyes so you really witness in presence. A lot of times we avoid feeling anything in these parts of our body. In fact, there's a lot of rejection that happens of like, no, that's a bad thing. I shouldn't be feeling this, or I shouldn't be feeling anything. I shouldn't even be paying attention to my body. I should be out doing important things. It's crazy how we're brainwashed to abandon the body. And then all the problems that stem from that with food addiction or anorexia. So it's like two opposites of the spectrum. I can't be in harmony with food because I can't be in joy and harmony with my body. So just this alone, like practicing, feeling down into your chest, feeling all the way, presencing all the way down to your pelvis, and then breathing. How do my hips feel? What do you notice when you do this? Certainly share in the comments. I'm having problems getting into this comment page, but let me see if I reboot it. So this will really bring your brain state and your chemical state into a whole different space. Okay, there we go. All right, how our thoughts and emotions come in, because a lot of times it's like, oh, I've got to just get away from negative people or control my situation. That really keeps us in fight or flight too. Not recommended. So a lot of times it's not about, oh, I have these negative beliefs I have to get rid of, or these negative people around me I have to get away from. It's more about, how am I relating with that? When I was sick years ago and doctors told me, you need medications and you have this problem and you got to do all these things, I realized that it was my relationship with my symptoms that was the toxic thing, not the symptoms themselves. My body did have the ability to heal, but the more I went after it, trying to heal myself, the more stress I was in. My relationship with my symptoms was in fear. It was in powerlessness. Every time I'd feel the back pain again, it'd be like, oh God, it's never going to go away. Oh God, I'm never going to be okay. I've tried everything and nothing's helped and it's so hopeless. So I'd go into this like toxic state of stress. Same thing with the fatigue. that was really hard. It was really hard to get out of resistance and stop resisting the fatigue. I've got to keep going. I've got to keep going. I'm going to fight the fatigue. I've got to push through it. I don't want to buy into it because I'm the one creating it. It was a total delusion. I didn't have the ability to surrender to it. So my body couldn't do the reboot that it was trying so hard to do. So the way I related with my symptoms was in resistance and in fear. I was afraid it would never get better. I was afraid the fatigue would swallow me up. I was afraid it would destroy my life. So that was not a very harmonious way of being in my body. And that's exactly what blocked healing. When I released that and got into alignment with, okay, I'm going to surrender to this fatigue. I'm going to surrender to this pain. It's okay, I have this pain. In this 10 seconds, I don't need to fight the pain. I don't need to solve the pain. I don't need to figure out the pain. I can just experience the pain. And so I'd have more and more and more moments of that level of allowing. And it was in days, very, very short period of time. My body completely healed. My nervous system rebalanced. My physical, musculoskeletal symptoms released completely. My immune system rebalanced. I no longer had an autoimmune illness. My thyroid came into total health. And it was a miracle because, wow, well, your labs returned to normal after 2 years of fighting this illness and what's going on. It doesn't make sense. But I understood it. I understood for the first time to a deeper level than ever before what mind-body healing is really about. And it's more about releasing and surrender than it is about fighting an illness. It's a total opposite. So one really brings us into that restoration, the relaxation response, and the other is going to bring us more into fight or flight and keep blocking health. So I'm really excited to share this from my personal experience and also from a medical perspective of a doctor who has now established this mind-body medicine practice. I've assisted people all over the world remotely on Skype or in my groups and things like that to really become aware of what's going on, because it's through that awakening that we allow healing, not through effort. Not through reading the best nutrition books or going to the best functional medicine doctor and doing everything right. It's first that the core of it needs to be through allowing. And then when we allow our wisdom, we can allow the healing to come, either through functional medicine specialist, great, awesome practice, supplements or whatever, dietary changes, great, but they'll come with ease and with fluidity when you're in this alignment of well-being, of harmony. So that's my invitation to you. I do have a holiday gift that is, it's a chakra clearing. It allows you to clear your physical, mental, emotional energy centers in the body to allow vibrant health to be restored. The link is drkimd.com/holiday. drkimd.com/holiday, and I will put it in the comments of, here is my holiday gift to you. I'll put it in the comments so that you have it right there. drkimd.com/holiday. It's a great audio download so that you come through this exercise, and we can do a little quickie for it right now. The most important part of this is connecting with that essence of wholeness and well-being. And that's the practice, right? Practice, what does it feel like to connect with joy? What is the energy of love? What is the energy of freedom? All the things that I want, all the things that help me heal, that I'm trying so hard to get, or maybe staying in fight or flight so I can go after it. What if I could just receive it? So close your eyes right now, and we'll just practice connecting with that. Relax into your body, relax your shoulders. Good, and then just feel your breathing, fluid as it might be in this moment. And you can put your hand on your chest, right over your heart, just to ground yourself into the heart. Good, and let everything outside of you go. What is the freedom, joy, the peace that you are most wanting to receive? And it could be And any of the things you're trying to do or trying to achieve, maybe you want to have health, wealth, love, whatever it is, it's a means to an end. What is that end? What is it that you truly want to receive? Being loved, being cherished, receiving all the love in the world. Experiencing joy, experiencing freedom, effortlessness. Life comes to me easily. Experiencing peace. All is well. Oh my gosh. Thank you that these things that were problems have sorted themselves out and I'm in peace. It's so easy to just surrender into life. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So feeling gratitude. So cultivate whatever of these most resonates with you right now. Gratitude, thank you, there's so much ease. Freedom, expansion and joy. Love, being cherished, being supported, being nurtured, being totally embraced and accepted. Good, so tune into the energy of whichever resonates the most with you and just breathing, breathing, breathing. And then bring that into your body. And in the meditation that you can download, it'll go a lot deeper into letting this integrate throughout your system so that it kind of recalibrates all parts of you. But just right now, bring it right into your heart. And even if you maybe just see it, you don't feel it, it's okay. Just let yourself see it, invite it, allow it. Let this come into my heart, whatever this essence of joy and freedom is. And just take a few deep breaths right there. Let it instill and integrate throughout your system, even if you don't feel it right away. Sending your body this gift of love and light. Good, and just take a few deep breaths. And on the audio that you can download, it goes a lot more in depth and it will assist you in integrating that into your nervous system. So your system's kind of doing that automatically, coming into a new harmonic of ease, joy, freedom, that relaxation response. It changes your brain states. It begins to ignite these parts of your brain that register your wisdom, your compassion, your higher awareness, so that you'll really begin to live from a deeper space. It also shifts your physiology, your chemistry, your adrenal glands. They can really restore and release that stress response and that whole pattern, because it is a pattern that kind of gets practiced, and allow an integration of something different. So I definitely welcome you to that. And I'm sorry, there's like a problem with the comments. I'm not able to read all of the comments right now, but I will go through anything that is shared, because I know a lot of people who are listening to the recording as well. And I just want to say a hello and shout out to you. I'll come back in and make sure I touch base into the comments and answer questions. I can be found at drkimd.com for more in mind body medicine. And and I've been really in an intense transformation myself over the last couple of months with pregnancy and coming through that. We'll be having a child sometime in the next couple of months. So there's a lot to release, and it's so important to remember to live surrendered. I've received so much more health and ease and freedom and love and all kinds of synchronicities when I've lived in this state of allowing. We tend to think like, oh, you're just going to sit back and do nothing and think all this stuff's going to happen. We really buy into the idea that fight or flight engagement gets us somewhere. It's a total lie. It isn't that we don't do anything when we stay in this state of peace and well-being. There's lots of action. There's lots of inspiration. There's lots of expression. It just comes from a deeper space. So it is effortless and fluid, and it creates a completely different result than the actions and behaviors when we're in fight or flight. But like I said, when I was on the webinar yesterday, like, we've got to choose to go into it, because I witnessed as she invited us to like close our eyes, that this part of my mind was like, no, wait, I got to stay out here. I got to do this. I got to do that. I may miss something. And it was like, oh, that's funny. It's just so silly. Just go in. There's so much that's available to us when we do. And the mind can resist that. It'll just tell you, no, 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 no. It's pointless.